Hi, I'm Linda Deer, and I am here every Saturday through the insights and guided. Last week, in fact, what I'm going to do first is show you the book. This is the paperback book. Amazing. It's not a small book. All right. This is available on Amazon in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook format, and I read the book. Okay. You can find all my books by going, just putting in Linda Deer in Amazon, and you'll find them all. Amazon chapter 6. we're still in my childhood, so it's pretty harrowing. I hope you guys are up for it. Okay. The lessons in Guided are the lessons very similar to what you're going through right now and the pressure that you feel in the world. Last week was the 4th episode of Lessons from Guided. Today, I will continue to read from the 137 tips, learnings, lessons, and awarenesses sprinkled throughout my true life story, Guided. Guided is the roadmap for stepping on board any point along your life path. So you too can join forces with your own spirit guides and angels, creating a better life than you could have done on your own. Just when I thought I was done writing Guided, my guides started to wake me up at 1 a.m. every morning for 2 weeks, starting from the beginning of my manuscript, stopping me where they added a tip, a learning, a lesson, or an awareness. They told me these would help the reader understand how guidance works in their life. These are like afterthoughts of reflection on what was really going on in my life while I was living it. Living in 2 worlds, not just this one. This is what consciousness is all about, being aware of what's really going on from this greater awareness. In my training, I show you, like my guides showed me, how this works. Okay, so we're in chapter 6, and by now the family dysfunction was normalized, making it seem normal, at least to my family. I, on the other hand, was reaching a boiling point at both school and at home. For me, this world was getting harder to tolerate. This is what happens when you become conscious. You become more sensitive to the harshness in this world. So you can't tolerate the harsh people that you used to tolerate. What do we have, Ray? Distortion of the green screen. What is that, Ray? Oh, the light. What do we turn it off? Ray's giving me some instructions. Go ahead and, okay. Does that help, Ray?
Perfect.
Okay. See how he looks out for us, you guys. Okay, thank you, Ray.
Caleb's looking right through your arm.
It was okay. For me, this world was getting harder to tolerate, as I explained, and I had to continually watch my back, and it never ceased. This is when my mother pushed me to new limits in her attempt to figure out new ways to break my spirit and defeat me. She promised from the beginning of my life, I'm going to break your spirit, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Okay, that set everything into motion for me. She wasn't going to break my spirit, okay? Just like nobody's going to push you to your limit and make you do things that don't work for you, that aren't right for you. Don't let that happen. That's the message in this, you guys. Life will, my guides continued to send me this prophetic warning. Life will get better for you as you get older, if you can make it through childhood. Imagine receiving a message like that from your first memories throughout your childhood, from your guides. See, this guidance doesn't always tell you what you want to hear, but it tells you what you need to hear. It lets you know so you can be prepared, and you're going to see how this works out. I was beginning to feel that I may not even make it through childhood at that point. Their prophecy was nearing closer. Okay. So none of this guidance is meant to scare you. It's meant to guide you. Hence the name of my flagship book, Guided. All right. Chapter 6, Reaching a Boiling Point, and we're going to go to the first tip, learning lesson awareness. This is a learning. Are you beginning to see how this works? It doesn't matter how those around you behave. You aren't them. However, you become like those you associate with. So hang out with your guides. They're always honest and act on the highest good in mind. If you want to become like someone, become like them. What happened to our role models? Okay, when you are more connected to your guides and you act more like they are, truthful, loving, real, you become a role model for the people in this world without even trying. So you can't teach them anything. They're either ready for it or they're not. My mother, and this is the part, this is the beginning, the earlier part, here's the lesson, the learning. And then just before that learning, here's what happened in my life that brings this learning to light. So imagine how this ties into your life, especially now. My mother generally didn't like me, especially as I got older. I didn't agree with her thinking or ways of doing things. She was very angry all the time, frequently rude to people. As I indicated earlier, was radically prejudiced. She talked about everyone behind their backs and spent a lot of time gossiping. She was hard, angry, and cruel. She always said that she didn't have a jealous bone in her body, but I often experienced evidence of jealousy. Most of all, she was unpredictable, and she took a great deal of pride in that. People that try to fool you, that think they're pulling the wool over your eyes. How does that work for you? She bragged about how she loved catching us kids off guard. She claimed to be smarter than everyone else and that no one would ever figure her out. It's just like all these people who are getting away with what they're getting away with now in the world. And it feels like they're always going to get away with it, but they're not. However, I'm pretty sure I had her figured out. I just didn't let her know or anyone else know about it. I kept my guidance to myself. What I took from all this, based on advice from my guides, was seeing that what power looked like in the wrong hands, in the hands of a bully. Dealing with people like my mother would become very easy for me later in life. Of course, I didn't realize that at the time that my guides were training me to master this. But they could see my entire life. And that's how the learning came about. You are beginning to see this, how this plays out. Don't take this stuff personally, you guys. It will defeat you. And here's the next tip. Your guides will encourage you not to engage with people who attempt to make you believe what they believe. In fact, they will help show you how to avoid them, leave them with their opinions, and just walk away. Your guides are very smooth. Okay, and this is what led up to it in my life. Over the years, I learned not to believe my mother at all. In fact, as time went by, I didn't even bother listening to her exaggerations or lies anymore. As I would learn much later in life, this was a wise choice on my part. I was following my guidance. I was not letting myself take it personally. That's key, you guys. The minute you fall into taking it personally, get your journal out and start writing down what that was, so you can begin to catch yourself before you go into that cycle again. Now and then, my mom would say things that exposed her secrets. She would say she grew up too fast, that people didn't realize how precious childhood was, and that she had been robbed of hers. She said she lost her innocence at an early age because she had a hard life. Welcome to the crowd. You know, it's not like she was the only one, but that's because she took it all personally. That's what it looks like in the outer world, the way people play this stuff out. Does no one any good. She had lost her innocence at an early age because she had a hard life. No, because she made a choice. Right? We all make choices. Experiencing my mother's swings between instances of truth and complete and total lies taught me to become acutely aware of how to deflect both in others. This turned out to be a critical life skill I was guided to learn that I would need in adulthood. Ain't that the truth? Look what's going on in our world, you guys. What's the truth, okay? And how do you find it? How do you get to the truth? The rest of our family just accepted her the way she was because they never wondered about those things like I did. Unlike the family, I just went about my business and ignored her. And that's what you have to do. You just have to get away from this stuff that pounds on you. It won't do you any good to get pulled into it. You can't help them by going where they are. Remember that. This is exactly how I handle people to this day. I have no use for people who say ridiculous things and make ridiculous claims, or worse of all, attempt to push their beliefs onto me. I don't say anything. I just walk away. And that's what I've always done. You know, they're not ready. They don't want to hear about what I have to say. It doesn't matter how ludicrous it is that the way they're acting or talking. It won't do you any good to argue with that. Okay, you get that, right? And if you're tempted to do that, get your journal out and start writing about what you just almost did. That's the fastest way you're going to stop doing it. Okay, you're going to stop taking this stuff personally so you can start to be more like your guides and think with clarity. Okay, that's what guided is all about, you guys. It's about getting you there, okay? All right, so let's go to the next learning. All right, dreams, like the bubble dream. I had a bubble dream, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Really make it clear that your guides are with you and are serious about looking out for you. They're always looking out for you, you guys. You're always being guided. You're never alone. It doesn't get any clearer than this. And I'm going to read it to you. Here we go. I'm reading little excerpts out of Guided. The warnings that I received in this state between sleep and waking were invaluable. These messages were coming from my guides who worked with me to keep me out of harm's way. Mastering this became another one of those critical life skills that supported me in adult life. Besides the dreams and twilight times between sleep and waking, I became more intuitively alert in my waking hours. It just seeps into this world. You're in two worlds, you guys. You're not just in this world. I started using this intuitive awareness at school. I began to know if there was going to be a fight on the playground before one even broke out. I knew when I would have a good day or a bad day before the day even started, and I knew why. It's so important just to lay in your slumber before you jump out of bed and go on with your day and catch what's left in the ethers if you don't remember your dreams, about the essence of what came through that night. That's all guidance. Let me find my spot here. Okay, and why? When I got home from school, I also knew what to expect before even walking through the front door. I was like a human radar detector, and I never told anybody. I never let anybody see my journal and my writings. Never. Okay, keep your guidance to yourself. This skill was necessary because both school and home were environments where I was required to continually watch my back. It never ceased. It feels like that in the world now. It feels like everything you do, oh, is this going to, work against me? Am I going to, is this the right thing to do? What happens if everything changes and now I've got all this stuff, in my life and I've made all these choices and now they're going to be a burden to me and the people around me will think I'm crazy. And I mean, I can go on and on and on about this one. You've got to write these things in your journal about how you're moving forward in your life so you can see what are the right moves for you going forward. It's the only way you're going to see it because you can't see it when you're in it, but your guides can. This skill is necessary, it never ceased. But one night I had a dream where I was at the vacant land behind our house, and the kids who wanted to beat me up were trying to gang up on me. Suddenly, I was inside a bubble, floating directly above them. They hit the bubble with sticks and stones, but it gently floated a little higher and out of their reach. You see the message here? These dreams are important for you guys to write down and figure them out. What that meant is, even though I was going to be around stressful situations and even dangerous situations where people were trying to harm me, symbolically, I was going to be just out of reach, but not out of the environment. I was supposed to experience this, but I wasn't supposed to be taken down by it. Very interesting. I recognized that I will always be protected, and I have been. This is just another important message from those who walk through this life with you, your guides. Okay. After the bubble dream, I started writing down all my dreams. Write those dreams down. I also started recording my thoughts. Here comes the journal. And unexplainable things that happened all the time, including the things I knew before they ever took place. I never told anyone what I was writing. It just helped me understand what was really going on. That's the whole reason you do the writing, so you can see it. You can't see it when you're in it. You've got to put it on the pages so then you can see it out here. Okay? That's what it's going to take. You guys have everything you need to do this. I'm going to be doing some training on this to help you achieve this. Okay. Here's the next learning. Dreams. Oh, we just did that one. Here's the next learning. No, this is a tip. In spite of how difficult or dangerous your environment is, it doesn't help to panic. This is getting to be real important right now. This is when your guides become critical to your well-being and sometimes survival. Lean on them. That's why they're there. Ask when you need help. Beginning of Guided, you'll see how that worked in my life. You'll see how that saved my life. 20 months old. Okay. So here's how that one played out in my life. Looking back to when I was 3 years old, my mother saw firsthand some strange things I did, and she observed my reactions. That caused her to know more about me than anyone else knew. I mean, after all, I was just a kid being a kid, right? I mean, I covered for myself and I blocked her assaults and I did all, but I was only 3 years old. And, okay, because of what she saw and deduced then, she now attempted to talk my dad into getting rid of me. I scared her. I heard her screaming at him about this, demanding that he agree with her. Even at an early age, I could figure out that she didn't want me around. She didn't want me at all. There were periods when my mother and father fought all the time. However, there was this one time I heard my dad put his foot down, and I never heard her bring it up again about getting rid of me. Even so, one day, my dad was at work, She grabbed my doll suitcase, opened it up on my bed, and told me to pack my stuff and get out. Now, I'm 3 years old, you guys, okay? When I had my stuff packed, she pushed me out the door, knowing this wasn't going to fly with my dad. She got in the car and chased me down. I often thought that she was playing out something on me that happened to her when she was a kid. I figured that out at a really young age. You know how I was able to do that? I was able to do that because I didn't take it personally. I really didn't. And when you don't take it personally, you have compassion. I had compassion for my mom. I knew she wasn't right. Okay. And I knew something had hurt her. It was so obvious to me. I could feel it. I couldn't reason it, but I could feel it. You know, you love your parents, right? All right. Okay, so that's how it plays out, you guys. Don't take this stuff personally. And your best defense against any of this is going to be writing it down so you can clear this out of your life. Most of the things that hurt you and control you are not yours. Okay? Tip. When you get reminders, you may think of them as hunches or feelings. These are coming directly from your guides. It's important to learn to recognize these warnings. As in the case I mentioned above, you feel it coming closer, and it is. Okay, so listen to this one. Just precedes the tip that I just read. Eventually, I decided I was done trying to tiptoe around my mom's mood swings. Nothing came as a shock to me anymore. I was just counting down the days until I could get out of there. See, I'm always thinking about running away and getting out of there, but you can't. We can't run away from the problems in the world anymore, can we? I mean, the problems are everywhere, you guys. This is a real problem. Remembering what my guides told me, life will get better for you as you get older, if you can make it through childhood. Isn't that something? The prophecy I received from my first memories in this life, this comes through. It had been about 5 years since they first started telling me that. I reached a point where I was beginning to experience more of what it really meant. And for the first time, I was beginning to get concerned about whether I would actually make it through childhood. It didn't get easier as the years went by. In fact, it was wearing me down. I really tried. I was really tired of consistently deflecting my mother's next round of attacks. She didn't work, so she had all the time in the world to think up new ways to make my life hell. Larry, my younger brother, and I, especially me, were outlets for her anger and rage. I was getting warning signs from my guides letting me know that the time was coming closer when something about my mother was going to play out. They didn't show me what it was going to be, but I knew it was tied to their warnings about making it through childhood. You know, I wrote all this stuff down in my journal. I had no one to talk to. How many of you have no one to talk to? The people in your life, if you were to tell them about the truth about your inner world, they may say you're nuts. They may say you're crazy. They may abandon you. They may leave you, okay, or something like that, or just stay mad at you all the time. You don't want that, but you can't live in it either. You're not going to be able to live in it, you guys, going forward. You're going to have to make some tough choices. Okay. This book is very prophetic. It takes you right through it. And let me see here. Let me see where we are. I don't want to do something that jumps ahead of things. Okay. So that was there's 10 tips, learnings, lessons, awarenesses in chapter 6, because it's really heating up by chapter 6. All right. This whole thing about I may not make it through childhood began then. And I try to keep these at about a half hour. So this is going to be part 1 of chapter 6. And I'm going to continue with part 2 of chapter 6 next Saturday. Okay. Just remember, you guys, that don't take this stuff personally. Could you grab me the journal, Ray, from behind your computer there, babe? Okay, this journal right here is the companion journal to Guided. I wrote this journal so that you guys don't have to fall short from living the life you intended before you got here. That's the summary. That's how I would summarize this. Start your journal writing. Follow me on Tuesdays. Follow me on Saturdays. And soon I'm going to have a class that you can attend and learn how to use this journal. I'm going to show you how to use it step by step. Okay. And you're going to start to uncover what has been hanging you up in your life, what's been holding you back, what's been hurting you. You didn't come here to suffer. This is supposed to be fun. Imagine that this is supposed to be fun and you're supposed to be here right now. And we're going to figure out what your part is in it, just like mine. Concentrate on how guidance is always working in your life. Join me again next Saturday, January 16th at 1 p.m. Pacific time on my Facebook page, my Facebook timeline, and my YouTube channel. Use the search term Linda Deer, and we'll see you then.